Bye to our friends.
Sharks eat.
Oh, what do sharks eat? Is that your question, Allison? Oh, I think Allison left. But yes, I guess it was what do sharks eat? Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Wait, there's
everyone.
a fact I want to tell you. There's a fact I want to tell
We
you.
don't have time for a fact right now, Abel, but we can talk more later. If you tell me it next week, I'll pass it along to Miss Maya, okay? And then we can talk more. Thanks, Abel. It was good seeing you.
Abel.
Awesome. Hi, Alejandro. Hi, Mila. Hi, Sophia. I see Juan. Oh, he's not joining audio just yet. All right. So we'll wait just a minute to get everyone in there. Ah, there's Juan. Good to see you, Juan. All right. Who remembers what we're talking about today? Oh, Sophia, what is it?
Marine biology.
Marine biology, yes. And does anyone remember what specific animal we're talking about with marine biology? Oh, Neela, what is it? Oh, you don't remember? You don't remember? Alejandro, do you remember? What did we make yesterday? I see that Juan remembers. I know because Juan knew that it was an animal. Oh, Alejandro, do you remember? What is it?
It was a, what was it called again? Wasn't it called, like, I think it was coral?
It was coral. Good job. Exactly that. So we have our awesome guest speaker today. We have another Miss Maya. Miss Maya Gomez is with us. Oh, Alejandro, you still have your polyps. If you want to show this to the camera, Miss Maya can see what you made. So we have Miss Maya with us today, and she's going to talk to us more about her research on corals and the effects of climate change on those corals. Remember, we talked about what happens if they lose all their zooxanthellae, right? They bleach, the corals get bleached. And so I'm going to let Miss Maya tell you all about all the cool stuff that she does and the cool things that she's gotten to see in the ocean. And we're going to talk a bit more about corals and ocean or coral bleaching. And at the end, we'll get into some questions, okay? And we'll probably have enough time to ask more questions than the ones we got yesterday. Sound good? Awesome. Go for it, Miss Maya.
Awesome. Well, it's so awesome to be here with you all today. I'm really excited to get to know you a little bit, to answer your questions, and to talk about corals. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right, everyone good? Everyone can see this? Okay, perfect. So this is a picture of a coral reef. And so there's a couple different types of coral in this one picture, and we're going to talk a little bit more about each of those different types. Ready? And by the way, feel free to ask questions throughout. Raise your hand, and other Miss Maya will call on you. So there's a quick picture of me and my face. I'm breathing underwater. And so that's one of the really awesome things that I get to do as a marine biologist. I get to breathe underwater, go swimming with fish, and look up and close with these corals. I get to stare at them and think about how beautiful they are. So what is this big green blob in the middle of the screen?
Come on, go for it.
Coral, or is it limestone? Coral. Yeah, it's coral.
Ooh, awesome that you said limestone, because that is involved with corals. Corals actually make limestone. So if you had to decide, is a coral most like a rock? Is it most like a plant? Or is it most like an animal?
Alejandro and Juan, both of you can make a guess. Go for it. And Sophia.
Mine is animal.
An animal, that's your guess? Alejandro, what's your guess?
It's sort of a plant, but it's actually an animal.
Ooh, yeah. So you're both totally right. Corals are kind of a rock, and they're definitely an animal, and they're also kind of a plant. So they're so cool because they have these little tiny cells that make them food for themselves, called zooxanthellae. So you talked about those yesterday a little bit, but let's zoom up on this one. This is a coral colony. So you see all those little polka dots on this lump, this green lump? Let's zoom up on those. This is what they look like up close. Pretty cool, huh? So they are tons of circles with little tentacles that move around like this. They move around and they try to catch things, and they can open and they can close, and they can open and they can close, and they open when they're hungry. They go looking for stuff to eat, and they close when they're not. And so each one of these little circles is called a polyp. That is one individual in a coral colony, which is hundreds or thousands of polyps. So if you imagine yourself with all of your favorite people, your family, your friends, and you're giving each other a really big hug, and then all of a sudden you snap your fingers, and instead of it being a different person, you're hugging all of these different people, you're hugging yourself over and over and over and over and over again. Tons of yourself, 100 of yourself. So those are called clones, and that's what corals are made up of. They're made up of the same individual many, many, many times to make a big lump. And as they grow, they add one single polyp at a time to their lump. They start to take different shapes. So coral is a small animal, very similar to anemones and jellyfish, but a little bit different. And they grow and they make a coral colony. So these are some of the different shapes that they can grow in. So sometimes they can be plates, like a dinner plate. Sometimes they can be branches, like a tree. Other times they look like your brain. Other times they look like big pillars or French fries or Disney castles. And so here's an example of one. What do you all think this looks like? What's this coral look like?
Ooh, Alejandro, what do you think it looks like? And then Sophia.
It looks like a tree on the first picture, and noodles on the second.
And Sophia, what do you see?
French fries.
French fries?
French fries. Yeah. Those are amazing answers. I also agree with them. I totally think they look like French fries and noodles. A lot of people also think that this coral looks like horns of an animal. So this is an elk. It's a specific type of animal that has horns, and people tend to think that this coral looks like them. So that's why it's called elkhorn coral. That's what people call it. But corals can also, this is similar to the first picture I sent you, where you have elkhorn coral is the orange in the middle. That's the coral we just looked at. And then what else do you see in here? What do you think is a coral in here?
Juan, what else
And what
do you
does
see
it
in
look
this?
like?
I see a marine biologist, and I think it's you. And
That is me swimming.
also, I think like the greenish coral looks like a cactus, and I see fishes.
I see fishes too. Are you talking about this? Is this what you're talking about? That looks like a cactus?
Yeah.
Yeah. It totally looks like a cactus. I think it oftentimes looks like a Disney castle too. So sometimes I call it Disney castle coral. Most people, though, call it pillar coral or French fry coral, whatever you want, whatever helps you remember. Here's another example of a coral. This one, if I didn't study corals and I was swimming, I would think that this was a big rock for sure. But it's not. It's a living animal. So this one took hundreds of years to grow. They grow very slowly. And if you zoom up on the surface of this is called mountainous star coral. If you zoom up really close, you see those same polka dots that we saw earlier on. You see those polka dots? Remember what those are called? A coral.
Ooh, who remembers what they're called? Oh, Alejandro, did you have your hand up? If not, Juan, what's your guess? Go for it.
Oh,
Do you remember?
I think I know what I remember, but I'm guessing, but I forgot what I was gonna say, but I knew I was gonna say, and it was the answer, but I didn't know. So I think they're like cells.
That's a good guess because we had to get close up to see them. I like that. But I think Miss Maya has a different word for them.
I do have a different word. So these are called polyps. Each one of those dots is one polyp. And remember, we talked about how it's like when you're hugging your friends and you're all the same, though it's you over and over again. Each one of those is the same as the one next to it. They're all called polyps. And the other one on the left side.
We're good. Sorry.
Okay. This one I think kind of looks like a ghost. So if you put eyes on it and a mouth, I think it kind of looks like a ghost. What about this coral? What do you think this looks like?
Oh, Sophia, you had your hand up right away. What do you think it looks like? And then we can have a Deepa guess.
A brain.
A brain?
Yes.
A Deepa, was that your guess too? Sorry.
Yeah, it's like a creature, like a brain creature.
Exactly. It's called brain coral. This is a brain coral. Here's another example of a brain coral. Are they the same? Is this the same as this?
Oh, Neela's shaking her head. No.
They're not the same. They're a little bit different. So these are two different species of coral. So species is just, they're similar, they're related, but they're a little bit different. So there are two types of brain coral. This one, though, is called maze coral because it kind of looks like a maze. You could get lost inside of the grooves if you were to shrink yourself down really small and go walking. Awesome. And why do you, so I'm talking a lot about their shapes. Why do you think their shapes are important?
Oh, William, you have your hand up right away. As soon as you saw it pop up on the screen.
Maybe the branches capture more food for the coral. The big ones have way more defense, I think. And I think that's it.
Wow, that's awesome. And Adifa, what do you think? Why do you think it's important?
I think it's important because some of some of the shapes in it can defend each other, and it can maybe protect itself from danger. So this is why.
I like that idea too. Totally. And those are both definitely true. Corals are so amazing and they do so many different things. So again, we talked a little bit about this, how they are making these different forms out of limestone. So they're building these different structures over time, over many years. And the reason that they're so important is because they're creating a coral reef. So coral reef is when you look at one type of coral, the next type of coral, the next type of coral, and then you can find all of these little grooves and homes and cracks and crevices where fish and other animals really like to live. So they're so important because they are homes for other animals. So here's a quick video of what it looks like to go diving on a coral reef. So those big lumpy things, those are the corals. Those are really old corals. And the fish are like, this is the perfect place for me to hang out. I love it here. Does that make sense? Cool. Let's keep going. So not only do corals come in all different shapes and sizes, but they also come in all different colors. So this coral right here is a little bit green, a little bit red, a little bit white. But they come in so many different colors. Does anyone have an idea why they come in different colors?
Juan, did you have a question or do you also want to answer this question? I saw your hand was up before that.
The answer. So
Okay, go for it.
I think I know why they have different colors is because of like other fishes survival, because I could see like some kind of green fish inside the coral. So it's camouflaged and it also wants to escape from a predator.
Ooh, I like that. Neela, I saw your hand up. Do you want to share? And then Adifa, you can share too.
I think it's because maybe of how old it is, it turns different colors.
Ooh.
And Adipa, why do you think they're different colors?
I think they're different colors because you know how the sun, maybe it can block our eyes, make us blind. Maybe the color, like if the creature has maybe lots of color, like lots of bright colors, it could defend itself and protect itself from danger.
Like poisonous dart frogs? Yeah.
I love these ideas, and they totally could be part of it. I'm going to talk about one part that I know of, but there could be other things that factor into the color of a coral. But here's a coral. It's purple. This one is red. Do you think that these are the same type of coral or a different type of coral?
Ooh, okay. So I see Adipa had said yes, they're the same. Neela said no, they aren't. Sophia, do you want to share? What do you say? Same or different?
I feel like they're the same.
And Alejandra, are you saying yes, the same? And what about you, Juan? Yes, the same? No, you're saying no, they're different?
No,
Okay.
because they have different colors. That's
Right. Yeah. So the answer is that they are the same type of coral. Both of these are called finger coral because they kind of look like fingers. So they're both called finger coral. The thing that is different is that their zooxanthellae, those cells that live inside of their body that provide them with so much food, 90% of the food that they need during the day comes from those zooxanthellae that live inside their tissues. So those cells are giving them this food, and in exchange for that, the corals are giving them a really, really comfy place to live. So it's this is called a symbiotic relationship where one animal or organism and another animal or organism, they team up. They're like, I'm going to give something to you, and the other one's like, I'm going to give something to you, and they work together. So that's called symbiosis. So the plant cells living inside the coral is a symbiotic relationship. And it just has to do with different types of zooxanthellae living within their tissues that gives them the color. Pretty cool.
Remember
huh?
yesterday we used blue sprinkles and we used red sprinkles for our zooxanthellae? It's the exact same thing that's happening here. The blue represented one kind, the red represented another, and that's what's happening in the corals in these pictures.
Exactly. So we have our purple/blue sprinkles and our red sprinkles on the screen right here. But the thing is that corals need more food than just from the zooxanthellae. They need a little bit more. So here's two more pictures of corals. Do you think that these are the same coral, or do you think they're different?
Ooh, do we want to do a vote again? You can say same, thumbs up, or different, thumbs down. Ooh, okay. We Alejandro, Neela, Sophia. I'll say same. Juan's not sure. Adipa, what about you? Same or different?
I think they might be. I guess they can be the same, but a little bit different.
Ooh.
I like that. What do you think's different about them?
Like the picture to the right, it has like green spikes, and the picture to the left has a lot of lines in the circles, and it is basically yeah, that's basically.
Do you want to call on Neela for help? She has her hand up. She might know. Go for it, Neela.
I think they're both the same. I think just on the right, the things are open because it's hungry, and then on the left, they're closed.
Yeah, the polyps.
That's totally right. Yeah, exactly. So like I talked about in the beginning, the polyps, they can open and they can close. They can open and close many times during the day if they want. Oftentimes they open at night because corals tend to be hungry at night because during the day, the plant-like cells in their bodies are getting energy from the sun. But at night, they don't have that energy, so then the corals go hunting. So they open up all their polyps and they're trying to catch whatever they can that goes in front of them. So they just open like this, and then when something flies in front of it, they go and they grab it. Here's another example. So the one on the left is closed. It's not a hungry coral, not right now. The one on the right, those squishy things that are coming out, those are the tentacles, and it's a hungry coral. It wants to catch something. It's going hunting. Here's a quick video. So this pink thing in the middle is a type of worm that lives in the water. And so again, you can see the polyps are open. You see the tentacles. If you see the tentacles, it means they're open. If you don't see them, they're closed. They're not hungry. And this is what it looks like. The tentacles are trying to grab it. And the worm is trying to get away. Pretty awesome, huh? But the thing is, though, so corals, we love them. They're beautiful. They're different in so many ways, but they're also in trouble. And they're in trouble because of climate change, and they're in trouble because of disease. So corals can get sick just like you and me. But when we think about climate change, something that's happening to our oceans is that they're getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And the animals that live there aren't used to the change in temperature. So because of that, sometimes corals, what they do is if the water gets too warm, is they might bleach. And this is what that looks like. A coral will go from its beautiful color, maybe it's red or it's purple or it's brown, and suddenly the zooxanthellae that lives in them, they say, I'm sorry, but you can't live here anymore. And they kick them out. Why do you think that's an issue? Why is that a problem that they don't have zooxanthellae anymore?
Ooh, Sophia, you had your hand up briefly. Do you want to share or no?
I forgot.
That's okay. Juan, I see your hand up, but let's let Neela try, and then we can go to Juan, okay?
I think it's bad because then the corals die, and then there's no more.
Ooh, yeah. Juan, did you have more to add to that? What happens if all the zooxanthellae leave?
They won't have food, and they're gonna like struggle to like find food because there's gonna be less creatures if the water's warm.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
And
So
then
when
they'll die. They're like die.
yeah. So yeah, the coral on the right here, the white one, is not dead. It's not dead, but it doesn't have any zooxanthellae. So remember, zooxanthellae gives it 90% of the food that it needs during the day. So suddenly, if you imagine yourself go from eating maybe 3 meals a day to then only being allowed to have 1 apple, you would probably be pretty hungry. And over time, if the corals can't get that zooxanthellae back, then they might die. They might die because they don't have enough food to survive. But corals can recover. So here's a quick picture of what it looks like. So on the left, you have a coral it's vibrant, it's beautiful, it's colorful. It has all of the green dots are zooxanthellae. If it gets stressed, so stress can happen if the water gets too warm or if it gets too acidic, or many other changes in their normal where they live normally. If it changes, they might get stressed and they might kick out some of their zooxanthellae and they get a little bit pale. And then to the right is a bleached coral. So again, that has no zooxanthellae whatsoever. So I'm going to show you what this can look like. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oops. Stop sharing my screen. Okay, now you see me. So I have some corals here with me right now. I have a blue coral and I have a red coral. So they're a little bit different. Okay, and I'm going to dip them in different temperatures of water. I'm going to dip them in their normal water temperature, and we're going to take a look and observe to see what happens to the corals. And then I'm going to dip them into warm water. So this is similar to when you think about the summer versus the winter time. If you ever go swimming in the ocean, in the winter, it's so cold and it's not fun for me. But then in the summertime, it's kind of bathy. And so corals oftentimes like the winter temperatures more than the summer temperatures. They might get stressed out because of the change in temperature. Okay, so are you ready? Here's my cold water. Here's the blue coral. Ready? I'm going to dip it and tell me what changes, if anything. What do you see?
Who wants to tell us their observations? Oh, Juan, what do you say? What changed, if anything?
What changed is that like the coral now has like kind of its tentacles open at the same time, but not, and it's kind of recovering.
You know, to be fair, we didn't see the coral tentacles and polyps earlier, but I think they might be the same. But I like your observations. You're thinking really hard about what might change. That's really good. Anyone else's observations? Adipa, what do you say?
When she put the water, when the top part, it got a little bit lighter. There's a little bit of light blue lines on it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think that might be a trick of the light, but I like what you're thinking. You're trying to figure out all the different things. Anyone else have? Okay, well, I see 3 people with hands up. We'll go for it. Sophia had her hand up first because it was right after Adipa.
The holes became bigger.
Ooh.
All right. So what changed, Miss Maya? I'll ask you.
It was a trick question. Nothing changed. And it's easier for me to see because I'm holding it this close to my face and I can see that it looks the exact same from before and after. Let's do it with this type of coral. Same in the cold water. Ready? Okay, take a look at it. Everyone sees it? Dipping it. What do you see now? Is there any change?
Neela, what do you say?
It looks a little bit more red.
Oh, it looks a little more red.
All right, Juan, what do you say? What do you see? Yeah, Juan, what do you see?
I see like many the tentacles like are like calming down, and the same what I said before, that the like coral is like not getting stressed out, but it's recovering.
Yeah, so this coral is not stressed. It's just, it likes the cold water. It didn't change in color too much. Maybe it got a little bit redder from being wet, but it definitely didn't get lighter. Let's though now take the hot water. Okay, ready? Here's a blue one again. We're back to the blue coral. I'm going to dip it in the hot water. Tell me if it changes.
Who thinks, did it change? You can give me a thumbs up, or if it stayed the same, thumbs down. Oh, I see Neela saying
I'm seeing thumbs down.
William saying thumbs down.
I'm seeing a lot of thumbs
All right.
down. Okay, ready? You're right. It didn't change. Let's change back to this one. Our final trial. Red coral is going in the water. What happened to it?
Oh, Alejandro, what changed?
Before it was really red, but when she dipped it into the water, it turned pink.
It turned pink.
Exactly.
Does anyone else notice anything? Juan, what do you say? Is it different than what Alejandro saw?
It loosed its Susan belly.
That's great. Sophia, what else do you want to add?
We need a porta child.
It turned pink quickly, but now it's recovering back to the same color.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Exactly. So it turned pink because it was stressed. It did not like the warm water. So it kicked the zooxanthellae out of its body. It said, you can't live here anymore. But Thankfully, it has returned to a temperature that it likes a little bit better. So slowly you can see the zooxanthellae is returning. Slowly it's getting red again. And so what does that mean about these two corals? This one, remember, it didn't change with the cold and it didn't change with the warm. This one didn't change with the cold, did change with the warm. What does that say about these two different types of coral?
Neela, what do you say?
That they're probably different.
Ooh, yeah. Sophia, did you have more to add to that? Yeah, Sophia, you can go for it.
They were good in the cold, but the second one was not good in the warm.
Does anyone else have anything to add? Go for it, Alejandro.
It means that I guess it changes by color and also their babies.
Amazing, amazing. I love all of these answers. So what this has to do is, like, if you think about, just think for a little bit. Do you like it better when it's warm outside, or do you like it better when it's cold outside? For me, I like it better when it's warm outside. When it's cold, I don't want it. I don't want the snow. I want to be by a fire. So the same thing is happening in these corals. This one likes it whether it's warm or cold. It says no big deal. I like them all. This one says, I hate it when it's hot outside. I hate the summertime. I hate it. I hate it. And so what this means, though, is when you think about thermal tolerance, thermal means heat. Tolerance means the ability to experience different levels of heat. So this type of coral is more thermally tolerant than this one. It's a complex term, but that's what we think about when we think about corals and climate change, is we think about the changing oceans. The oceans are getting warmer, and we think about what corals will start to not like how it is. They will start to not like their environment where they're living. So that's what we think about. Make sense? All right, I'm going to share my screen again. And we will talk about another thing that is threatening corals, and it has to do with sickness. So I talked about this really briefly at the start, but basically corals can get sick just like you and I can. So like, just like when you have a cold, corals can get sickness. They can get ill, and oftentimes it can be not good for their health. So this top layer, you see this coral here. Remember what type of coral that is? Anyone remember? We saw it before.
Deepa, go for it.
The grooved brain coral.
Yes, it's a grooved brain coral. Nice job remembering that. That's awesome. So in this, the white is dead coral. That is what you're seeing there is the skeleton. You're seeing the limestone of the coral. So you're seeing what it builds up over time. The tan part, or the yellowish part, is a live coral. That is where the polyps are able to open and close still. And so you can see the white part of it is growing over time. So these are only about 2 weeks apart each. And the white is starting to grow so much. And eventually after 3 months, the coral is completely dead. So diseases and illnesses are a really a big problem because they are killing corals and killing coral reefs. And why do you think it's bad that corals are dying?
Oh, Alejandro, why do you think it's bad?
Because they have beautiful colors, and if all of them die, it proves that the virus's next target could be humans.
That's interesting. Oftentimes, actually, viruses can't pass from one animal to the next. There's only happens every once in a while, but it's very unlikely that whatever's making these corals sick will ever make humans sick. But that's a really good observation. How about on the second part of this picture? What do you see? What's happening? What's the difference between this one and this one?
Oh, Neela, what do you say? Or Sophia, sorry. Neela and then Sophia.
I think the colors mean the corals, and what's happening is that less corals are there on the second picture.
Exactly.
Sophia, do you have any other observations?
That on A it looks more healthier than B.
Yeah. Something that is important to know is that the bottom two pictures are taken from above. So like, just like imagine that you were a bird or a fish swimming over a coral reef. That's what they're looking down on, or an airplane looking down on these corals. So the one on the left, there's lots of purple. That's one type of coral. That's one species. And if you look on the right, you can see that the amount of purple shrinks a lot. So that coral died, and it was only in 1.5 years that that coral died over time. And then if you think about the different colors are different types of coral or different species. You can see that this green one disappeared in the second picture altogether. So there's no more green ones left. Versus this purplish one, it didn't change too much from one picture to the next. And what that means is that that coral is less likely to get sick from this one type of illness. And the green one is more likely to get sick. So that's same with humans. Sometimes like some humans get sick and other humans don't get sick.
Adifa, did you have a question?
No, it's for the last one where the dead was like the white part was coming in. I wanted to answer the other question that the scientist said that if they had no coral, like what happens if the coral died? I wanted to say also a different explanation. I wanted to say also animals also won't be able to find a home because they can also live in coral.
That's perfect. That's exactly the right answer. So over time, if corals start dying more and more, then those really important homes for animals will start disappearing. So that's why we need to do as much as we can as scientists and as people to try to save our coral reefs. And so one of the ways that we do that is by studying them, because we can't know how to save a coral or a coral reef if we don't know what's happening. So us scientists, we will go swimming and we will look at all the corals and we will take data on them to see what corals are there and how they change over time. So this is my team from, it's a team of researchers. And so this is what we do. We jump in like this all together, and then we go down, we'll take a picture, and then you see those square things? That is our equipment that we use to take surveys. So there's 3 different types of surveys. There's a fish survey. A survey is like a study, a really quick taking data of things. So there's some people take data on fish, some people take data on corals, and other people take data on the other species and other types of animals and algae that live on reefs. So this is what one of the surveys looks like. You put a line down on the reef, and this little yellow and this little yellow and yellow, you go along all of those and you identify, you write down who lives underneath that dot. So that's one way that we can learn about different reefs and how they change from one place to the next and from one period of time to the next. Is there a question? Do you have a question?
I think Juan's hand might be up from the last answer, but I was going to let him share the next time you had a question to ask us. But Adifa was also showing us her very cool marine biology book.
So this is what I look like. This is me, and I'm writing underwater. So I have a clipboard and I have a piece of paper and I'm writing underwater. How cool is that? And I'm breathing underwater. So that silver thing on my back, that is holding all of the air that I need.
I think Alejandra has a question.
How are you riding in the ocean? Can't
How?
you get too wet by water?
It's a really, really, really special kind of paper that doesn't get too soggy to write on. So it's a special paper, but it's a normal pencil. That's the funny thing. I'm using a normal pencil that you like you do. It's just special paper.
Adifa, did you have another question or was that your question too?
That was my question.
Amazing.
Okay.
And the fun part, especially fun part about doing this and taking data about reefs is sometimes you get interrupted from working. So I'm working here and so every once in a while I will be interrupted by a fish where the fish will swim up and say, I don't recognize you. What are you doing here? And they'll get really close to your face. And then I'll say, hey, fish, don't mind me. I'll just be here for a little bit. Other times, though, I will be interrupted by something bigger. These are called spotted eagle rays. It's a type of stingray. Pretty beautiful. So I have all these little polka dots on their back, and they swim so beautifully. Other times, I'll get interrupted by an octopus. So you see that tentacly and squishy thing on the bottom? It's changing color. That's an octopus. Other times, oh, and there's a fish in there too. Other times though, I might be interrupted by a shark. And I just say, hey, shark, don't mind me. And the shark says, I don't mind you. And then we go about our business. So it's very easy to live and to just be welcome to the space for a little bit. And then I go on my way and everyone's happy. So this is the method that we use to take data underwater right in the moment, but you can also use technology to do it out of the water. So this is what that looks like. Again, this is a view from above, like you're a plane flying over. So do these two little white things are boats right here? Two little white boats. And we can take tons and tons of pictures, like hundreds, thousands of pictures of a coral reef. And then we stitch them together, just like if you were to make a quilt or make some clothing, you sew things together. We sew all the pictures together to make one giant picture. And then we're able to zoom up on it and see all of the coral polyps. Do you see all those polka dots? Remember, each one of those is a polyp. So we're able to look at corals and coral reefs from our computer because of this awesome technology. And that technology is called photogrammetry. And then what do we do with these? So we make these, we take all these pictures of corals and coral reefs, and then do they just live on our computer? What do you think we do with them? How do we use them?
Oh, Adifa, what do you think?
I think maybe observe them a little very closely and maybe print it out and observe them even more and maybe write down some data and evidence you found.
That's awesome. I think Juan, what else did you want to add? How do you think we use these pictures?
I think we just investigate what's going on in a reef, zoom in, I want to say what's going on. And then when you took a picture, then there's like a just giant squid or baby squid.
Oh, I see a lot of hands up. Sophia, what do you think we do with these photos?
You could compare it to see if they did any changes.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love
all right,
all of
Mila,
these
what else
answers.
would we do? I think she's last one with her hand up.
You guys can look at it and compare it.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, so the awesome thing about this is once you take all these pictures, then that can live forever. You will always know what a coral reef looked like at that point in time in history. And then as things change, because things are always changing in the world, you can take another set of pictures and then see what's different from one to the next. And you can also compare one reef to the next reef. So that's what we're doing here. I'll show you another image. So here's another photo mosaic. That's what they're called when you stitch them all together. It says this is 2,000 pictures put together into one. So it's a really big area. And this is what we can do. We can click a button and suddenly all of the corals are highlighted. And you can identify what coral is what species. So how the different types are on the reef. So the orange is one type of coral. The purple is another type of coral. The green is another type of coral. So how many different types of corals do we have on this reef?
Ooh, I like y'all putting up numbers. Alejandro counts 4.
Ooh.
Sophia and Adifa say 3. Juan says 4.
Where's the fourth?
Sophia changed it to 4.
I actually think I see a blue one right here. Is anyone else seeing other colors on here?
Ooh, Sophia went up to 5. What other color are you seeing? Or Juan, either one of you, what other color are you seeing?
I added the blue and the white next to the green on the side.
This one right here?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're nodding.
Good eye. Good eye. Awesome. So there's like 5 different colors on this one. But mostly there's orange and purple.
All right. So everyone agrees 5. Alejandro says 6, but are you seeing some of the black in the center? Is that what you're counting, Alejandro?
No, it's because like the purples, like I think has like the greens. Some of those greens are a little lighter than others.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like to the up top above the green on the right, it's like a different color purple. Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Awesome. Let's look at another reef. And I want you to do the same thing. So this is what it looks like before you grab all of the corals on it. Boom. Look at all those corals. It looks very different, right? How many different corals do you think you could see in here? Take a second to look.
Ooh, Neela counts 9. So definitely more than the previous one. Sophia says 9 as well.
Wow. Totally. There's so many different types here. I'm seeing light purple. I'm seeing dark purple. I'm seeing light blue. I'm seeing dark blue, green, yellow,
Light green.
Light green. Okay, I'm at 7. Where else? What other colors are you seeing?
Juan, what other color do you see?
I see like a little white, and I also see like, if you could see it, you could also see like a tiny orange.
Oh, a tiny, tiny orange. Are you talking about over here?
No, I
Maybe.
found where.
Or yellow?
He might be the yellow.
The yellow. Oh, I see. Okay. Amazing. So what the difference between these is we see 5 in here, different colors, but mostly it's orange and mostly it's purple. Versus over here, all of the colors are all over. There's more species here, and they are also more evenly distributed. So they're more mixed together. There's not one species that is more present than another species. They're pretty much the same. Versus here, the purple ones and the orange ones are really present. They're dominant. Versus the green, there's not that many of them. And the red, not that many. And the blue, not that many. Pretty cool, huh?
Miss Maya.
Yeah.
I was going to say, can we come back to the restoration slide in like 5 minutes? Because we have to do a quick activity before we run out of time. And so I want to make sure we do that.
Amazing.
All right. So everyone, if you can grab a piece of paper and a writing utensil, we're going to do something really quick and then we can come back to Miss Maya. All right. So give me a thumbs up if you have pencil and pen or writing utensil. Looks like Sophia's ready, Adipa's ready, Neela's ready. Looks like Alejandro and Juan are grabbing their supplies. So is William. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start the 5-minute timer while y'all finish getting ready. And you're going to answer the question, what is marine biology? And you can draw your answer or write your answer. Either is okay. And once the timer's up, we'll go ahead and do a group photo. Give me a thumbs up when you finish, though, because if you finish early, we get to ask Miss Maya more questions, okay? All right, just about 3 minutes left. You can give me a thumbs up if you're done. I thought a couple of you might be done. Awesome. That's okay. You still have 3 minutes if you need it. I like your shark, Alejandro. All right, just about 1 minute left. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're done? No worries if you're not. Still have 1 minute left. All right. I like your turtle, Alejandro. I'm excited to see what everyone else answered too. All right, like 10 seconds left. Put the finishing touches on your answer.
8, 7, 6.
All right. So before we get back to Miss Maya and her answering questions, can everyone hold up their answers so we can take a quick group photo? Wow, look at you all. You are artists. That is great. Oh, I love all the fish on yours, Sophia, and a submarine. Juan, can I see yours one more time? Oh, awesome. Great job, everyone. That was great. Okay, so we only have a couple more minutes left. So Miss Maya, if it's okay with you, do you mind if we go into some questions? Awesome. So we had some questions that were asked yesterday. Let's go through those. And if we have time, we can take other questions, okay? So William asked, what is the fastest growing coral?
Ooh, there is one type of coral that is called similar to elkhorn coral, the one that's very branching. Typically, branching corals tend to grow faster than the big mounding ones, which are like the ones that look like big rocks. So the ones that branch oftentimes grow faster than the other ones.
And that's awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to get over that. That's really cool. Juan asked, and I know this is related to the slides, unfortunately, that we didn't get to, which was, how can you reverse the impact of climate change or coral bleaching?
Yeah, I'll just talk about it for I'll talk about it for a second. So something that we do as coral scientists and people that care about the environment, which we all do, is that we can grow corals to then plant. So just like if you have a garden and you grow some tomatoes and some lettuce and some carrots, we're able to do that underwater, where we can grow corals and then put them back onto the reef. So we grow them. Typically, we use those types of corals that grow really fast, the branching ones, because they make so many homes for other animals. So we'll use those corals. We'll take little snippets like this big, grow them up until they're really big, and then put them back onto the reef, so that there's more homes for other animals.
That's awesome. I'm glad we have a solution to such a really scary problem, right? All right, and Alejandro asked, have you ever gone into the sea before? But I think that question was answered with all the really cool pictures we saw. So Sophia asked a couple questions. So the first one is, which ocean do you like to study for your research? And do you use robots in the ocean?
Ooh, I really like to study the ocean that's called the Caribbean Sea. So that's right by Florida, so on the east side of the US and the south. And I specifically study a lot in the Bahamas, which is a bunch of islands that are near Florida. So it's really warm water typically, but not too hot, except for in the summer. Sometimes it gets a little too hot for corals. And the second question was,
do you use robots in the ocean?
Oh, do you use robots? So I showed you all those pictures. We use cameras to take a lot of pictures. Some people will use machines that you can control, like a video game underwater, and they will take pictures. And yeah, a lot of different people that study ocean science will use things that can go deeper than humans can go, because humans can only go so deep, but robots can go a lot deeper.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're technically out of time, but I see Alejandro's hand up, so if we can all wait one more minute. Alejandro, what's your question?
I have another question, and for the guest speaker.
Yeah, go for it.
Have you ever named a shark?
Have I ever named a shark? I haven't, but I should. I haven't met like the same shark that many times. Normally you see them and you say hi and then I don't see them again. They go on their way. Oh my gosh, what is your shark's name?
I named him Sarky.
Sharky. That's a good name.
That's great. Can we all give our guest speaker a round of applause? It was so great that she came here today
Thank
and
you.
told us all about the corals and did that really cool demonstration so we could see how coral bleaching happens with hot water, with the corals that aren't very temperature tolerant or thermal tolerant. So that's it for today. But next week we'll study radiation. I hope you all have a great weekend and I hope you have a wonderful day.